A spark from rookie running back Jonathan Stewart, and this week Steve Smith returns. In Minnesota, the 0-2 Vikings look to Gus Frerotte to jumpstart the offense and hope that Adrian Peterson can help get them a much-needed win. Stay tuned for the Panthers and the Vikings coming up next. Major weapon for the Carolina Panthers returns. Steve Smith back after a 2-game suspension. Meanwhile, for the Minnesota Vikings, Adrian Peterson a little nicked up this week, but he has been given the go sign for the Vikings as the NFL's leading rusher. And we are live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, as the Carolina Panthers take on the Minnesota Vikings. Ron Pitts, Tony Baselli, yes, it is very loud here, as you might expect. The Minnesota Vikings have stumbled out of the blocks 0-2, really the preseason favorite, and desperate times call for desperate measures. Head coach Brad Childress has gone ahead and made that change, Tony. Tavares Jackson will sit down. Gus Frerotte, he is the starting quarterback today.
Well, Ron, they were getting no production out of the quarterback position. Tavares Jackson had a good offseason, a good camp, and they really felt like he was the guy to complement Adrian Peterson in this great running game. But he was not making the routine plays, wasn't moving the chains. They needed someone to come in and give a spark to this offense and bring some sort of passing game, and that's why Gus Ferrotte's now the starter.
Meanwhile, the flip side, Carolina Panthers, a lot of people thought they would be the preseason favorite. I mean, didn't expect much from them, and they're turning out to be the preseason favorite. And now you look at them, and they're 2-0, and they're going to get Steve Smith back.
Ron, if you'd have told these guys a month ago when they found out Steve Smith was going to be suspended that they'd be 2-0 after facing San Diego and Chicago on the road, they'd be very, very happy. They get him back. He's the guy that brings that explosiveness to this team. They have a good running game, but they need the big play threat Steve Smith brings.
Now it's time for our Microsoft keys to the game. Break it down, Tony.
Well, if you're the Carolina Panthers, you come into the Dome, a loud place like you said, wrong, and they got to match the intensity of the Vikings. The Vikings are desperate, and they better come out fast. And then Minnesota, they just got to find the balance. They can run the ball on anybody. Any production they get out of Gus Frerotte is a plus.
Kickoff. The Vikings and the Panthers coming up next.
Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
The Panthers have won the toss. They will receive, and we are ready for kickoff here in Minnesota. Let's go down to the third member of our crew, Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, all eyes were on Adrian Peterson as he did his pregame warm-up. He was only out here for about 10 minutes, did a series of stretches, ran at both half and full speed. But Ron, as you outlined before the game, before the break that we just took, he has been given the go. Expect him to take the field with his offensive unit and look to give the Vikings their first win of the season.
Adrian Peterson bothered by that hamstring, the leading rusher in the NFL. Kind of a tough call, Tony, because you don't want to lose him, have that hamstring snap and lose him for the rest of the year, but you're 0-2.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're 0-2. You lose this game, the rest of the year might not matter. It is a long season, but Adrian Peterson, smart guy, he knows his body better than anybody.
Ryan Longwell gets us going. That's the rookie. Jonathan Stewart at the goal line. He's been very active on regular offense, and he's active here with a great return out past the 35-yard line. Driven out by Longwell. And there's the man, Jake Delhomme. Feeling good, looking good, coming off of that Tommy John elbow surgery. And he's been spectacular as his team is 2-0 heading into this game. Jeff Ota, the rookie, Tony, I know you like him at that right tackle position.
Big baller. I love watching that guy, that young guy play, and he's going to get after Ray Edwards. It'll be a good matchup. Ray Edwards is a good defensive end, the left defensive end for the Vikings.
And Steve Smith is back after a 2-game team-imposed suspension. He's up top. Thank you. Play action. First time out, and there he is, Steve Smith. That's 10 yards and a first down and a late marker. That will probably be a face mask penalty. Working on Cedric Griffin.
Jake Delhomme talked about how they needed the explosiveness of Steve Smith. They didn't have that big-time, big-play threat when he was out. You could just tell how excited Jake Delhomme was to get him, and they go to him right away.
Personal foul, face mask, number 23, 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Our referee, John Perry, with the first call today.
And watch Steve Smith work. If he's working against Cedric Griffin today, Cedric Griffin really struggled last week. Anthony Gonzalez had a huge day. And Anthony Gonzalez is a good player, but he's not Steve Smith. Look for that matchup and look for the Carolina Panthers to try to exploit that today.
Steve Smith told me before the game, I just have to come out here and not feel like I got to make a play right off the top. And what does he do? He goes out and makes a play on the first play. Another pass intended for Rosario, but it's overthrown. The Minnesota Vikings defense last year, they were #1 in the NFL against the rush, and the guys up front have a lot to do with it, particularly the Williams guys, Pat Williams and Kevin Williams, the 2 Pro Bowlers. But don't forget about Jared Allen coming over in a trade from Kansas City this year. E.J. Henderson, the middle linebacker, their leading tackler last year, will make a lot of tackles. And that green outline tells you he was wearing the new defensive communication device. He can talk to the sidelines. D'Angelo Williams, not much. Might have lost. They call it no gain. That's E.J. Henderson.
Yeah, E.J. Henderson's going to get the credit for that tackle. But when you have the 2 Williams inside and Pat Williams working the nose against Ryan Khalil, which is going to be a tough matchup for that second-year center all day long, he just strings that along and just eats up so much space that allows E.J. Henderson to run free.
He led the team last year in tackles with 155, and he led the team in sacks.
And this is where it's hard for an offensive lineman in this dome on 3rd down. It's so loud you can't hear the snap count.
3rd and 10. Plenty of time. Muhsin Muhammad. Muhammad is going to have to fight for that first, and a gang of purple is there. He's going to be about 4 yards short. And that'll bring on John Casey for the field goal attempt.
And if you're the Carolina Panthers, you're going to have to earn everything you get today against this defense. They're a little bit vulnerable in the secondary with the big plays, and that's where they're going to try to go after them. But that front 7, as good as front 7 that you will see all year in the NFL.
So John Casey, he's been perfect thus far, 6 for 6. This will be from 43 yards out. It's up, looks straight, plenty of distance, and the Panthers go up early, 3-0 here in Minnesota. So the nice return by Stewart sets up good field position. Carolina gets up early. This is Reese Lloyd, brought in last year, the final game of the season. He is the kickoff specialist. So the Panthers are holding 3 specialists, kickers on their roster. That's Chester Taylor. He is now the backup running back, but he is handling the kickoff return duties. They like the way he returns the ball, sees the holes very well, and they're hoping for some production. Taylor, there's a hole, and that's a nice return. Taylor out past the 30-yard line. Gus Frerotte, 37 years old, back in a Viking uniform. He was a starter here, if you remember, back in 2003 and 2004. The team's oldest player, and he got the nod on Wednesday, Tony. They, like you said, Tavares Jackson not taking advantage of some of the opportunities they felt.
And watching him throw in practice on Friday, he still has a big arm and can make every throw. His arm was impressive Friday.
Fakes to Peterson, and that's a completion right off the top. Asante Shenko, brought in last year from the New York Giants, and that's Tavares Jackson, 3rd-year man out of Alabama State. A high draft pick, Tony, 2nd-round pick. But they felt like they weren't getting the production they needed.
Well, they felt like he was trying to be perfect, pressing too much and really kind of holding the ball a little bit, trying to make sure it was there instead of just reacting. And Childers saw it in his eyes and knew he had to make a change.
Play and stop.
False start. Number 28 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's on Adrian Peterson. Brad Childress, his 3rd year as Vikings head coach. He said he made that move on Wednesday. hedged his bet a little bit. Told the press, well, no changes on Monday, no changes. Tuesday, no changes. Wednesday morning, we got to change.
Well, I think after he watched the film and realized that the investment that's been made in this team, and they're 0-2, that something had to be done.
Peterson, a marker is down in the backfield, but Peterson is out across the 40-yard line. We'll check that marker. Richard Marshall brings him down. He got 12, but this could be coming back.
Holding, number 62 offense, 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
That's the right tackle, Ryan Cook.
Outside play to the left. Ryan Cook, the right tackle, is going to try to cut off. I believe that's Damian Lewis. It just ends up tackling him.
Oh, I don't know, Tony. I've seen worse than that.
Yeah, and actually that was Tyler Brayton he was tackling. A lot of the times you get away with that because they feel like maybe you're just falling on the guy's back of his legs. But he kind of reached that left arm out, and I think the officials saw him hook him a little bit.
Oh, Minnesota hurting themselves early here with penalties, as you just saw. Gun formation, second and long. Seam route, ball knocked away. Is it a fumble? No, incomplete pass. Chris Gamble putting the wood to Vasante Shenko, and he gave it up.
Well, and that's been a problem for Vasante Shenko. Last week he dropped a touchdown pass, and I don't care who's throwing it, if it's Gus Farad or Tavares Jackson, your receivers have to catch the ball. Great hit by Gamble, and give him credit, but that's a tight end. And when a tight end gets hit by a corner, the tight end needs to hold on to the ball.
Gamble with a fumble recovery in week 1 for a touchdown against San Diego. Making a big play there. This is 3rd and 21. Chester Taylor in the backfield. Plenty of time, dumps it off. Taylor with one move. He's got to get busy. And well short of the first down. That'll bring on the punt team for the Vikings.
Not too many plays for 3rd and 21.
You don't have a call for that,
No,
huh?
I don't think there's that much on Brad Childress' playlist that says, okay, 3rd and 21, we're going to run this. It's almost a give-up play. You just, toss it underneath, and maybe one of your playmakers can make enough people miss to get a first down.
Mark Jones is deep for the Panthers. Signed in September. He was in training camp with the San Diego Chargers. He is an experienced return man. Good punt by Kluwe inside the 15. One move, two moves, and he's out to about the 23-yard line. 55-yard punt, 8 yards on the return. We'll be back.
Summer and fall.
3-0 Carolina early here in the first quarter. The Carolina Panthers 2-0, looking for their first 3-0 start since 2003, and Panther fans will remember that was the Super Bowl year. Incomplete. A quick shot out to Steve Smith, and Antoine Winfield is there.
Ron, every week we look at a matchup that'll go a long way in deciding who wins this game. It's called the game within the game, and today it's Jared Allen, the big free agent acquisition out of Kansas City, the pass rush specialist, against Jordan Gross, one of the better left tackles, one of the more athletic guys at that position in the league, and it's going to be a great matchup. Jared Allen is an all-day sucker. Jordan Gross better be ready.
The dump off to Williams. Williams can't quite turn the corner. Ben Lieber is there, pickup of 6.
Sitting down talking to Jared Allen, one of my favorite guys I've sat down with so far. When you talk to him, he respects the game. It's really important to him how people view him and how he plays it, if he plays it right or not. He's a guy who plays with all kinds of tenacity. He's physical, and he understands the history of the game and his place in it.
And this is where he usually comes alive, 3rd and 4. He's up top. Man-to-man. Pressure, and it sails high. Good pressure, good defense down the field. Ellis Wims applied the pressure, and that'll bring on the punt team for Carolina.
And Jared Allen's going to come all day, and you can see Jordan Gross looking at the ball, going on a silent count, and he's just relentless. And he benefits from the inside push from Kevin Williams and Ellis Wims on that play. They really get good pressure inside. You see Ray Edwards down right there, the other defensive end who closes out as well, getting up, looks like he's all right. But that front four, it's going to be a long day for that Carolina Panther offensive line. And I've been in these games before, and you just got to hang in there. You can't get down if something bad happens because you're playing against a really good unit. Keep on fighting, and if you hang in there, something good will happen.
And we talked about how loud it can get here. Panthers had a punt block last week. Checking protection. Some pressure there, but a nice kick there by Baker. That's Andre Allison. He calls for the fair catch at the 18-yard line. 53-yard punt. Vikings ball when we come back. Panther head coach John Fox, his 7th year as Panthers head coach. A nice start, and he said last night in the meetings, of course, we didn't expect to jump out to this type of start. You always welcome it, but when you lose a guy like Steve Smith, and that, of course, was a team-imposed suspension, you just can't expect it. Thus far, he's happy with the way things have gone. Another marker is down, but a completion inside. That's Bobby Wade. Nope. Bernard Berrien.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 58. That penalty is declined. Results of the play, 1st and 10.
Thomas Davis. And so that will keep the play live. And a look at the Carolina Panther defense. Tyler Brayton brought over from Oakland this year. Julius Peppers, he moves to the other side. He'll rush from that right end spot. We'll keep an eye on that. John Beeson, a force inside, the leading tackler last year as a rookie with 160. Another pass wide open, and Farrat misses it. That's Garrett Mills. Let's go to Los Angeles for our first game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
And our first touchdown of the day, Arizona against Washington. The Redskins take it down the field on their opening drive. Clinton Porter scores from 3 yards out. Washington on top, 7-0. But it's still early. I don't have to remind you, Ronnie and Tony.
It's early. 9:15 here in the first quarter. Anything could happen. Taylor in the backfield. Play action to Taylor. Looking deep, intercepted, dropped by Berrien, intercepted by Gamble. And Gamble is inside Viking territory. The Panthers' first interception of the year, and Chris Gamble does the honors. And we'll be back. Great field position once again for the Panthers. Into the league in '95, and Chris Gamble now with 18 career interceptions. That is second all-time in franchise history. Boy, that's doing a lot for a guy that's only been in the league for 5 years. 1st and 10. Wouldn't be surprised if you saw a shot down the field early here. Nope, they'll hand it off in the backfield. That's Williams. He gets away from Pat Williams and somehow made something out of that. He got 7. Let's go back to the interception.
Ron, let's look at this. They're going to run a little crossing route early with Wade and Berrien, and Berrien's going to sit down inside the zone as Bobby Wade runs them off. Runs a little out pattern here, and the ball's delivered a little bit behind him, but it's a ball he has to catch. I mean, Bernard Berrien's a good receiver, and it's not going to be perfect every time, and that wasn't that far off. And you can't, if you're not going to catch it, you can't tip it up and let someone, it's too easy for the defense.
If you can touch it, you better catch it. That's the rule. Fake the end around, they give inside to Williams. Williams, the number 27 pick overall in 2006. A little bit of outshadowed a bit by Jonathan Stewart last couple weeks. And check out the offensive line.
Yeah, we talked about it, and this is what they need to do, because you don't want to get into a passing game in this dome because it's so loud, and they get good push against those 2 big guys inside. Listen, as an offensive lineman, I don't care how good that defensive is and how good a run defense, you have to establish that to give yourself a chance throughout the game.
3rd and 1. Stewart's going nowhere. Welcome to the NFL, rookie. E.J. Henderson, a loss of 3. And that will bring on the punt team for Carolina.
Watch E.J. Henderson on this play. Great job as a middle linebacker of reading the counter. And he doesn't over pursues too much, sits down, reads his keys.
That's a great job, Tony. You're right.
And then fires right through the first opening he sees. Great play by that guy right there. And if you're an offensive lineman, you better get 3rd and 1 or you're going to be throwing the ball.
Baker will try to kill this one inside the 10. Allison is deep. Allison fair catches it at about the 6-yard line. So Carolina can't take advantage of the interception. Minnesota ball when we come back. And a quick look at the play selection for Minnesota. They had the one run by Peterson that was wiped out because of a penalty. Other than that, it's all in the air. And that was Vikings offensive coordinator Darrell Bevel. Peterson not alive. Well, this Tuesday on Fox, don't miss a new episode of the most talked about new series of the season, Fringe. Imagine the possibilities this Tuesday after House only on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised.
And the Vikings just got their first run, but the 6 passes in a row were really pass heavy. Shows the confidence they have in Gus Frerotte. And he's had some guys running down the field open. Now they just got to connect.
Second and 7. Frerotte waiting. It didn't clear. It clears inside. There's a first down. And that's Bobby Wade.
And those are the plays they needed Tavares Jackson to make. The routine plays. I loved how Brad Childress said, we're not making the routine plays routinely right now. And Gus Frerotte does a good job of being patient. This is where the veteran comes out. Looking, scan the field, didn't see it front side, and had the composure to go backside to Bobby Wade.
First and 10, 13 yards on the reception. Peterson runs into a wall. And that wall is Tyler Brayton. Let's go to Los Angeles. Another game break. Kurt Minifee.
Well, following an interception thrown by Matt Castle, the Dolphins turn it into points with a direct snap to Ronnie Brown. He takes it in from 2 yards out, and the Dolphins lead the Patriots early, 7-0. Let's get it back to Ronnie and Tony.
A loss of 1 on the play. I would say that Brayton is in the right place at the right time on that one.
That looked like it hurt. Adrian Peterson running downhill like that. What a collision.
Second and 11. And Peterson showing the strength there. Tried to get the cutback. Julius Peppers wouldn't let him have all of it. But still looks like a nice gain. A pickup of 8.
Watch Julius Peppers on this play. Does a good job of standing up Shanko. And at this point, he's getting carried, but he's trying. Look at him rip the ball. We talked to Chris Harris yesterday, and that's what they're trained to do, is go after the ball. Once you get a guy stood up, try to create turnovers. And we saw the stat earlier that they had the most turnovers since 1995. That's one of the reasons why.
3rd and 3. And it's incomplete. Looked as though Ken Lucas got a hand on it. And that'll bring up 4th down.
And that's one thing Gus Ferrotte's going to do. He has so much confidence in his big arm, he's going to try to force things at times. I thought he had Bernard Berrian running underneath for the easy throw for the first down. Saw the cover 2, the high safety, and saw a little bit of a window there on and tried to hit it in there. You've got to be careful. Sometimes the big arm quarterbacks will take chances, and sometimes those chances don't pay off.
Chris Cluey will punt it away to Mark Jones. Not a great punt. In fact, Jones had to let it take a bounce, didn't field it. At about the 25, maybe got 4 out of it. Well, next week, our Fox NFL action begins with the 4 Drive 1 Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. Then, the first game of our doubleheader action. Some of you will see the Falcons and Panthers, the Vikings and Titans, or the Packers and the Buccaneers. Our second game, the Redskins and the Cowboys. That's all coming your way next week on Fox.
Getting Jake Delhomme back for this Carolina offense was so critical. They had the 4 quarterbacks last year, and I thought it was amazing and a great job by John Phelps' coaching staff to get 7 wins. But this guy right here is the heartbeat of this franchise. He has all the intangibles and just brings something extra to the Panthers.
Looks for the crosser. There it is. That's Jeff King. And King will be very close to a first down. Nice pickup coverage there by the linebacker Greenway. That was good for 9.
And that's just the type of play he makes. I mean, it doesn't look pretty. We watch him on film. It's like, this guy doesn't look great doing it. But
that's his MO.
He just makes plays. I mean, he's a guy that as a lineman, as a teammate, you want the huddle with you. He has that moxie about him. He's a leader. And he's going to find a way to make something good happen.
And every guy you talk to on this team, they just beam with confidence when you mention the word Jake Delhomme. Williams inside. He's got a first down. Let's get to know the guy we keep talking about here, Jake Delhomme.
You can probably tell by the way I talk that I have a pretty thick accent, and that would be a Cajun accent. And so I have to really kind of say my words through so the guys can truly understand. My passion is racing thoroughbred racehorses. I have a stable now, and we run under the name of Set Hut. It gives me a nice release when I come back in the off-season.
And he does look like Jim Carrey. His teammates have teased him about it over and over again.
He's got the Jim Carrey haircut.
1st and 10. But plays like that, nothing funny about it. That's Steve Smith. And Steve Smith has a first down. It's funny talking to Steve Smith before the game. He said, can you do me a favor and make sure you call me Steve? There's some announcers out there that have been calling me Steven. My real name is Stevon. You don't have to go about Stevon. Just do Steve, okay?
Make a play like that, I'll call you whatever you want. I mean, let's just put it this way. Steven, Stevon, Steve. This Carolina Panther team and Jake Delhomme is just happy to have Steve Smith back. And you can see why. I mean, he has 2 early catches, but it's not just the catches, but what he does after the catch and how explosive he is with the ball.
Williams looking for the corner, and a Superman move by E.J. Henderson.
E.J. Henderson is having a fantastic year. So far, having a fantastic year so far. Watch him flow over the top, and he doesn't run through the blocks this time. He leaps like Superman, which you said.
Wow.
And what a great athletic play. One of the guys who probably doesn't get enough credit on this defense is E.J. Henderson.
A loss of 5, 2nd and 15. Fumble. Recovered by the Vikings. Looks like Ben Lieber got it.
The center exchange, it's Kedrick Vincent, the right guard, trying to pull left, and Jake does. I think that has to be on the quarterback. The quarterback's got to get out. He has to know that that play is going to his left and that he has a pulling guard and has to be quick getting out.
Well, you can see Vincent's hand hit it as Delhomme is trying to pull away. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Taylor in the backfield, along with Tahid. Play action. Knocked away. What a collision. Chris Harris, he's had a lot of them lately. He separated the ball from Bobby Wade.
I mean, I like the aggressiveness of this Viking offense, but I don't like that they're getting away from who they are.
Run game.
They're a running team. I mean, right now it's like watching, you know, the Colts or the Patriots last year where they're going to throw the ball, 50 times. They can't get away from Adrian Peterson. And maybe it's his hamstring right now. I don't know what it is, but they are pass heavy so far.
The #1 rushing offense in the NFL last year. Not running it today. That intended for Taylor, incomplete.
And now you put yourself in 3rd and 10, you have to throw the ball.
Tony, do you think maybe Adrian Peterson's hamstring is a lot worse than anybody anticipates?
Well, if it is, that's fine, but then run Chester Taylor. Let's not forget, this guy's pretty good himself. This was the best tandem, the best duo last year, and when when Adrian Peterson was hurt with the knee, Chester Taylor came in and had multiple 100-yard games.
Peterson last year, Taylor, with 844 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns and only 8 starts. 3rd and 10. Carolina showing blitz, and they bring the safety, and it gets home. Godfrey, that's the rookie out of Iowa. And the Bluebirds coming out here in Minnesota.
Brad Childress has played against a John Fox defense before and knew that they were going to be very aggressive and come after them today. And when you don't run the ball early, Ron, and you get in 3rd and 10, then you allow the defense to get much more exotic in their blitz and take some chances because they can force the underneath throw by pressuring you with more than you can block.
And that was Godfrey along with Thomas Davis, the outside linebacker. They showed the blitz early, walked up, and they just couldn't get him blocked. And that's Davis there, slow to get up, but he does get off the field. 3-0 Carolina.
The day began.
Back-to-back 100-yard games for Adrian Peterson. That leads the NFL. But the question is, just how healthy is that hamstring?
Well, he's not getting a lot of reps right now, which is not the identity of this Minnesota Vikings team. The only thing I can think of is that Brad Childress and Darrell Bevell wanted to come out and establish that they were going to throw the ball down the field and hopefully open up the run game a little bit more as the game goes on.
Cluey to punt it away. Mark Jones deep. And Jones will field this one inside the 10. Barely gets out to the 15. 54 yards on the punt, 9 yards on the return. Well, this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, you'll see one of these games, all of them having playoff implications. The Yankees and Red Sox, the Cubs and Brewers, the Marlins and Mets, Indians and White Sox.
Ronnie, the Brewers are falling apart. They fired their manager this past week. Looked like a lock for the wild card, and now they're at risk of not even making the playoffs at all.
Stewart in at tailback for the Panthers. He gets the call, and he's still going. There's the power of Jonathan Stewart, brought down by Darren Sharper. Stewart, the 13th pick overall out of Oregon. They drafted him even though he had toe surgery just after the combine.
And they're running right at that Minnesota Viking defense, showing no respect at all for the size in the middle. And Jonathan Stewart, looking at him yesterday as we met with him, I mean, he's just one big ball of muscle. I mean, there's no fat on the guy. He has arms the size of, a linebacker. He was an impressive young man to talk to, and he's run the ball so physically all year.
That's the end of the first quarter. Panthers up 3-0. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Vikings defensive end Ray Edwards is questionable with a shoulder injury. 96, Brian Robinson, second-year man out of Texas, will sub in his place. We'll also see Evans along with Grigsby going deep as we start the second quarter. Intended for Muhammad, incomplete. Griffin along with Tyrell Johnson on the coverage. A look at the first quarter numbers.
And penalties are the only thing that really stand out as a difference, and really that led to the 3 points. We had that early turnover. It was the pass to Steve Smith, if you remember, then the face mask that got them into field goal range. So really the difference, you can see the turnovers are even, but the difference right now is the penalties.
And a Viking is injured. That's Cedric Griffin. He's down on the 46-yard line. The Vikings 46. He walked back to the huddle and all of a sudden just collapsed. So we'll check on Griffin when he comes back, when we come back. Charles Gordon checks in for the injured Griffin. 3rd and 1, just got it. That's Brad Hoover, the fullback. And I think that took a 3rd and 4th effort.
Well, that was all Brad Hoover. It was like a pinball in there, bouncing off people, and it looked like at the start he was going to lose yardage going into the middle of that big Viking defensive line. You see Kevin Williams hitting first, Jared Allen. I mean, the whole the whole team had a chance at him, and Brad Hoover just had a little bit more will on that play.
As we start the second quarter, the first third down conversion of the game by either team. Griffin is back in. That's Stewart for a couple. Let's go to Los Angeles. Game break time. Here's Kurt Menefee.
And we're going to double dip for you, Bears and Bucks. Brian Greasy hooks up with Ike Hilliard for 7-6 Tampa Bay lead. Then in Atlanta, Michael Turner takes it in from 4 yards out. Matt Ryan and Roddy White just hooked up for a 70-yard touchdown. And Atlanta has a 14-0 lead over KC. Back to Minnesota and Ron, Tony, and Clarissa.
The Falcons with a new quarterback and a new attitude. Matt Ryan, the new face of the franchise. Second down and 8. Plenty of time for DeLong. Looking deep, wide open is Steve Smith. Steve Smith has been productive so far. And that's a first down for Carolina as they work inside Viking territory. 28 yards on the play.
There's the big play ability of Steve Smith. And they're going to get in the zone. And Steve Smith just runs through the zone. And the rookie, Tyrell Johnson, needs to react much quicker. Antoine Winfield lets him go. But Tyrell Johnson has to understand something. If you see Steve Smith come across your zone, you better close the gap quickly because that's where they're going with the ball.
First and 10, ball at the 41-yard line. That's Stewart, and Stewart pounds inside it, and he's still going. A good pickup on first down. And going back to Steve Smith, of course, you remember Steve Smith was suspended for 2 games, suspended by John Fox. That was a team suspension for fighting with teammate Ken Lucas. Actually injured Lucas. Hit him in the nose, caused some damage, and John Fox said, listen, I got to draw a line somewhere. That's his second suspension on Steve Smith in his career. So Smith sat out for 2 weeks, worked out with the personal trainer, tried to stay in shape, and waited for his return. That's Stewart once again. For more on Steve Smith, let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
How excited you guys think that he is to be back out here. He was here at the field 3 hours before the game. He showed me a printout. He was running through his various plays. He had certain ones highlighted, and he was very short and specific about the fact that he is here to play football. He's not going to overthink anything. He's just going to play.
That's exactly what he expressed to me before the game. Just come out and play. Don't worry about whether the team will be better without me since they started 2-0 and all that stuff. Just play. 3rd and 6.
And he's matched up at the bottom of the screen on Cedric Griffin. That's a matchup that favors.
Going to the corner route, and it's well covered, but there's a flag. Looking for DJ Hackett. Charles Gordon was on the coverage, but the back judge threw the marker.
Pass interference. Number 41 defense. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
That's Charles Gordon. He's in a grab. Ooh. That's a little ticky-tack, but they called him for that push-off with the arm, pushing DJ Hackett down, and I'm not sure that ball would have been catchable anyways. I could see why if you're Jake Delhomme, you're happy, but if you're Charles Gordon, you're a little frustrated with that because a lot of times that won't get called, kind of hand fighting like that.
The side judge, Keith Washington, actually made the call. That ends up being a 20-yard penalty. 1st and 10 for the Panthers inside the 20-yard line. Movement early. Here's John Perry.
False start. Number 79 offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the rookie, Jeff Otop, the number 19 pick overall from Pittsburgh.
And he's going, golly, it's loud in this place. What do you expect me to do? I can't hear anything else.
Well, Tony, I mean, what's it like? I mean, we've played here. I've played here, but you're a tackle with the opposing team.
Let me sum it up like this. I played here once and never wanted to come back.
It can be absolutely deafening here in the Metrodome.
John Randall might have had something to do with that as well.
A little bit. Looking for the end zone. That ball is tipped coming out. Intended for Muhsin Muhammad, but someone got a finger on it.
And that's big Pat Williams, who got his hand on the ball. And even if you don't get there as a defensive lineman, you can see the push he's getting. Little hands to the face on Ryan Khalil. But get your hands up. And the defensive line, even if you don't hit the quarterback, but just getting that push into his face and getting your hands up can disrupt the whole passing game.
Second down at 15. The draw to Williams. He's going backside. Foot race. And Allen shows that speed and chases him down. He picks up 6. Tony.
Jared Allen working against Jordan Gross. Jordan Gross looking at the ball to make sure he stays on the snap count, and they're trying to influence him. That's what you'll do. Go right at the best pass rusher and try to get him up the field and run underneath them. But Jared Allen, a smart player, he watched a ton of film, read his keys well, and then shows the athletic ability really to run down. He had the angle to run down D'Angelo Williams to stop it from a much bigger game.
Williams might have been complaining about a potential horse collar there. First time for either team inside the red zone as Delhomme calls timeout with a 3rd and 9 coming up.
That's the first charge timeout, Carolina.
The world 10th play of the drive coming up here on this 3rd and 9, and man, is it loud.
And this is where, as an offensive lineman, you have to keep your composure, look at the ball. This is where it's tough. This crowd is the 12th man right now.
Ray Edwards checks back in at the defensive end position for Minnesota. Complete. That's the tight end Rosario, and he's down to the 2-yard line. And more importantly, that's a Carolina first down.
Hey, great play by Jake Delhomme. Great play by Dante Rosario. Give them all the credit. But watch this offensive line. It doesn't get any more difficult than this on the road where you can't hear and you're playing against a really good defensive front. And that was as clean as a pocket as you'll get on the road. 3rd down, Jake Delhomme could step up. Hats off to that offensive line.
And Delhomme, being Delhomme, looking very cool in the pocket. 1st and goal. This is Stewart. Stewart is in for the Panther touchdown. Stewart's 3rd rushing touchdown of his career.
Ron, we talked about this Minnesota Vikings, the most physical team in the NFL defensively. I've just watched the Carolina Panthers run right at them, running right at Jared Allen right there. Jeff King just finishing his block. Carolina Panthers saying, okay, you want a physical game, we're going to bring the physicalness to the Vikings. We talked about at the top, they had to match their intensity, and so far they have.
Casey tacks on the extra point. So the Carolina Panthers drew first blood, and they continue to draw. 14-zip. 10. Correction, 10-0 Carolina Panthers. Got a little ahead of myself there. And a big play in that drive, Tony, the pass interference on Gordon.
And a questionable one. I mean, you were a defensive back.
Yeah.
If you play like that, you sure don't expect a flag, do you?
You'll probably get a plus on the film grading session from your coach. So Lloyd kicks this one into the end zone. We do have a marker down back upfield. It's usually an offsides. John Perry has been busy this first half.
Offside on the kicking team, number 25. They've elected a re-kick after a 5-yard penalty.
So they'll re-kick it. John Fox's Panthers last week beat the Chicago Bears 20-17 for their second come from behind victory. And the key point, which everyone keeps bringing up, is another win without Steve Smith.
And then Steve Smith shows up today and has been a huge part of this, making big catches and is making his presence felt very early in the game.
Please correct the timeouts on the scoreboard. Carolina
and it's interesting,
has
Tony,
2 timeouts remaining.
You talk to a lot of the players here with Carolina. A lot of them have gone as far as to mention that this feels like the 2003 Super Bowl year, the guys that were there during that time.
Well, and John Fox said he really likes his team. He said he learned something about it when he suspended Steve Smith, how they responded. And after talking to John Fox, I know it's worked out now and they're 2-0, so everyone's happy. But I think he earned a lot of respect from his team when he did suspend Steve Smith. Steve Smith's the best player on this team. Biggest playmaker, one of the best receivers in the NFL. He made a mistake, and John Fox wasn't afraid to penalize his best player. And I think the locker room really rallied around him, and you've seen how they've responded to the adversity. And John Fox says that taught him so much about this team.
So Lloyd, the Minnesota native, went to school, University of Minnesota, kicks it again. This will be Taylor. Taylor doesn't even get out to the 25-yard line. 9:50 here in the first half. Vikings ball when we come back.
Some good thinking.
The Carolina Panthers defense with a reputation for hard hitting, as we promised, and speed on defense. Well, they have not disappointed thus far.
And they've been more intense and more physical so far than this Minnesota Vikings offense, and they've given their offense multiple opportunities because of the turnovers.
Here's what's a little staggering. Minnesota with only 13 total plays, Tony, and Adrian Peterson has been involved in only 3 of them. This is Peterson here. And he's inside for a good first down gain. Damian Lewis with the tackle.
And if I'm Brad Childers and Darrell Bevel, this is what I do. I'm down 10-0. I've tried to establish the pass with Gus Frerotte coming in for Tavares Jackson. But listen, the bread and butter of this team is Adrian Peterson. I mean, first down, you get 6 yards. You need a heavy dose of him right now. Get him in the game. Let's get him warmed up a little bit.
A pickup of 7. They get him going again, looking for the first down. It'll be a close mark. We'll see how they measure it. Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, you guys mentioned how loud this place can be, and I'll tell you, it's quite the opposite on the Minnesota sidelines. I was keeping an eye on Adrian Peterson while the defense was on the field. He almost looked lethargic, you guys, watching the game from the bench, and when the offense had to take the field, he shook his head almost to kind of wake himself up.
Well, they need him to wake up. I mean, if he's sleeping, they're in big trouble.
Give him the ball, he'll wake up. And that'll wake you up also. That's John Beeson. That's a nice little pop, but Peterson good enough for the first down.
Yeah, you notice how he fell forward still? I mean, that's what the great runners do. They fall forward. Beeson making a good play, scrapes over the top, and meets Peterson right at the line of scrimmage. But he still falls forward. He's such a big physical back, still falling forward for the first down.
Really had one of the greatest rookie seasons in NFL history. Over 1,300 yards rushing. Offensive rookie MVP. Went to the Pro Bowl and was the MVP there. There's a cut. Almost turned the corner completely. Thomas Davis rounded it up, but he got 6.
And he's one of the rare backs that can do both. He can run physical and abuse you down in and down out and make it miserable to tackle him by the end of the game. But then he has enough speed to get outside and really press the corner. I think the one thing that he needs to work on, I'm talking to Brad Childers, he needs to take what the defense gives him. Don't always try to hit the home run. Nothing wrong with getting 3 and 4 yards sometimes.
What did he say? Slow to the hole, slow through the hole, and then explode. Patience, 2nd and 4. That should be an easy convert. That's Naufahu Tahi, the 3rd-year man out of BYU. And he converts.
Yeah, you talked about the patience of Adrian Peterson. They moved him back to 8 yards because you were right. It's slow to they want to take your time getting the hole. Often these young backs will just be sprinting to the line of scrimmage, trying to make something happen. But it's slow to the hole, then fast through. So once you get to the hole, you explode then. And they've had to teach them that. They backed him up because he's such a fast, powerful, and almost an anxious back at time that they've really been preaching patience to him.
And the college running game in Oklahoma, we know what that is. That's downhill football all the way. Get the rock and don't stop running until you get to the end zone. 1st and 10, the check down. That's Taylor. Taylor looking for the first down. He's going to be short, but that's a nice gain. Thomas Davis again.
Minnesota, excuse me, Ron. Minnesota does have has the flexibility and the depth at running back. I mean, Chester Taylor was a big free agent acquisition a couple years ago from Baltimore, and is a very fine back in his own right. And having the ability to change the pace, bring him in, he's a good back out of the backfield, is so valuable for the Vikings.
2 tight ends set on the field for the Vikings. Peterson at Taylor. Peterson, and you could see it slowly happen. And this, Tony, I think you alluded to it earlier, as they get the first down, he is that type of back. The more he gets it, the better he gets. He gets stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, he had 29 touches last week, and he keeps on getting better and better. And he's one of the better zone play running backs in the NFL. You can see right there the great vision and patience. He'll push the front side of the hole, and this is where he's gotten better with the patience we were talking about last time, and really allowing the defense to over pursue and then hit that backside crease.
Taylor checks in. Play action, the bootleg. Looks, there's your crosser. He doesn't throw it, and a marker goes down.
Holding. Number 45 offense, 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
John Perry was quick with that one, holding against the Vikings. Let's go to Los Angeles for this update. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Bears and Bucks. Chicago's Kyle Orton hadn't thrown an interception all season until now. He hadn't thrown a touchdown pass all season until now. Unfortunately, gains Adams plays for the Bucks. Tampa Bay leads it 14-6. Ron and Tony.
I'm fairly convinced that Orton isn't the answer.
And I don't think he gets credit for the touchdown either to Gaines Adams.
Wait a minute, let me check with our statistician to see if he does.
I don't think that's one that he wants.
Statistician Mitch Smith says no, he doesn't get credit for it. Play clock winding down. They just get it off. Draw. Taylor. And Taylor with a nice gain. That's Gibson. You're talking about 2 guys that set a team record for combined rushing last year, going over 2,000 yards, 2,185 yards rushing. When you can do that, that tells you maybe you put the ball on the ground a little bit more.
Well, they don't need a bunch out of Gus Frerotte.
You don't need anything.
Yeah, I mean, just roll.
All right, a little
change, third and short, be able to complete the easy pass because you have 2 great running backs.
And we've seen some great hits and some guys drop balls in Gus's defense. The play action, looking deep, it's not there. Underneath, it's there. First down. Bobby Wade. Wade dragging all the way across the field until he found a soft spot. 16 yards on the play.
And that is why Gus Frerotte is now the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. You see Bernard Berrian running off the coverage, and then Bobby Wade's going to sit underneath and find the soft spot of the zone. But what was impressive there is Gus Frerotte moving in the pocket. Not great. He's not going to break it out, break the big run, but he moves in that tackle box really well still.
Play is stopped. Vikings tried to get that ball off quick. And Brad Childress is like, wait a minute, what?
Prior to the snap, Carolina called their second timeout.
Carolina called the timeout.
30-second timeout.
Vikings saying no, they didn't get it off in time.
Well, Brad Childress was going to try to catch the Carolina Panthers sleeping. And they had him in transition.
Almost
Carolina
did.
was not lined up properly. They had Ferguson outside, no one covering him. And it was a quick snap by Frerotte trying to get the ball. Carolina got the sideline, or somebody got the timeout before the ball was put in play.
Audiences, critics agree that the new Fox Tuesday is the best night on television. It all starts with a new House at 8/7 Central, followed by an all-new Fringe at 9/8 Central. Tuesday is all new right here on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised.
And this is what Minnesota needed to do. They really did nothing on offense for the first quarter and a half. They're down 10-0. They needed a big drive. Their offense responded, and it's because of Adrian Peterson right now.
Peterson in the I formation. They dump it down to Tahi, and a nice tackle there in the open field. That's Chris Harris. The Vikings 0-2, as we mentioned at the top of the game, lost to the Colts last week, 18-15, in spite of leading 15-0 late in the third quarter. And they lost opening day to the Green Bay Packers. Now with their best drive of the game here. 2:50 and counting in the first half. 3 timeouts left for Minnesota. Movement, they got Diggs. That's a free one. It gets knocked away, but a marker goes down as well, and that'll probably be on Diggs.
Offside, number 53 defense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Automatic first down.
Ron, it was interesting that the Minnesota Vikings put the 4 wides out there trying to spread out the Carolina Panthers. Sometimes you'll do that to get some natural running lanes inside. But the Carolina Panthers still don't respect the passing game because they didn't go out and put only 6 guys or 5 or 6 guys in the box. They still crowded the tackle box, crowded the line of scrimmage, and said, listen, if you want to throw the ball, go ahead. But we're not going to respect that pass until you make us.
Second down and 3. The long out route, and it's complete. That's Robert Ferguson working on Davis out there, the linebacker, kind of what you were just talking about, Tony. A pickup of 9.
Gus Frerotte might be 37 years old, but he still has a rocket for a right arm.
How about that? That was impressive, wasn't it?
Oh, that was a strike. And we saw it Friday at practice, and boy, that's a long throw, and it got there quick.
Peterson on first down. Peterson looking for the angle. Works inside the 10-yard line. Marshall on the tackle.
And that's what Brad Childress is talking about. He needs to get up into the line of scrimmage instead of trying to dance around. Go downhill.
Coming up, it's the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They'll have all the latest scores and highlights from around the NFL, plus the Fox Sports ticker with the up-to-the-second stats. 2nd and 6. All right, 5 for 5 on this drive. A little shovel, and it's incomplete. Intended for Taylor, but they couldn't hold on.
And this is where they got to get better in the red zone. It killed them last week, kicking 5 field goals against a Peyton Manning team. You cannot do that. You got to score 7 points. You got to score 6 points and convert the extra point. And it's something Darren Sharper said. Listen, we need a spark, and a spark right now is just us scoring some touchdowns instead of kicking so many field goals.
14th play of the drive, coming up 3rd and 6. The swing. Nope, he throws it back inside, and it's incomplete. At first, it looked like he was going out to Taylor, then went inside. Boo Birds come out as the Vikings will attempt a field goal. That ball was tipped inside. He was going to the swing.
It's Charles Johnson coming, beating Ryan Cook off the corner, trying a little swing pass, get outside and let Chester Taylor work and open in the open field. And Charles Johnson does a good job knowing he's not going to get there. Get your hands up.
This is Ryan Longwell from 28 yards out. He made 4 field goals last week, and he's good here. So the Vikings, with 1:46 to play in the first half, get on the board, and we've got a 7-point game.
Talking about Ryan Well coming out there, they don't want to see him too much more. They want to score touchdowns, and this is something else they don't want to see too much more of, is turnovers. Gus Frerodte's been getting hit, some drops, some tip balls, and then this guy, Steve Smith, boy, he took 2 weeks off and was ready to come out and show that he's still one of the best receivers in the NFL. And then Jonathan Stewart just went right down, right the heart of that Viking defense. And hats off to this Carolina offensive line. They've protected for the most part pretty well in a tough atmosphere here in the Dome. And then they've been very physical. That's what this Vikings defense has built their defense on, is stopping the run. And we've seen them a couple times, especially with Jonathan Stewart going right at him, running the ball.
So Longwell will kick it away. Jonathan Stewart is standing by back deep. He'll take it at the goal line. Stewart has some speed. Can't turn the corner. Nice play there. That's the backup wide receiver, Robert Ferguson, hustling down for the tackle. So Carolina with one timeout here, 1:40 to play in the first half.
Plenty of time. You got your, Jake Delhomme, a veteran. He's done this a number of times. We saw him do it week 1 against San Diego at the end of the game. You got Steve Smith. You work the sidelines. You have the one timeout. So decent field position. Look for them to try to get some more points on the board.
Nick Goings sets up in the backfield. Pressure on Delhomme. That's Goings. And Goings barely gets out of the backfield.
Now they'll get on the line of scrimmage, run their hurry up 2-minute offense here. And this is where a lot of pressure's on the front 5, the offensive line, because Jared Allen and the rest of the guys have their ears pinned back and they're going to come after you.
2nd and 8. A high one over the middle. That one looked as though it kind of got away from Delhomme. Intended for Smith. Darren Sharper was hanging around the middle.
Now that's the one thing you don't want to do if you're the Carolina Panthers, is turn over the ball and give the Vikings another shot at getting points on the. More times than not, if you throw that ball over the middle of the field, the high one, that's going to go to the other team.
Well, and now with the passes, not with the first one, but with that one, the clock stops, and Minnesota has 3 timeouts left.
Absolutely. If they don't get the first down here, watch for Minnesota to burn one of their timeouts.
3rd and 8. They bring the corner blitz. Winfield, ball is loose. He picks it up, and he will score. Unbelievable. So the Minnesota Vikings got exactly what they needed from the Carolina Panthers.
And this Minnesota defense, one of the best in the NFL at scoring points. Ron, you said it perfect. Antoine Winfield just coming off the corner on a corner blitz, and no one accounted for him for the Carolina Panthers. And Jake Delhomme, he's a veteran guy. He has to know where that guy's coming. If he has somebody unblocked coming free, that's his responsibility. The offensive line, the backs are not responsible in most circumstances for picking up the backside corner when he comes. That's on the quarterback.
The 3rd career touchdown for Antoine Winfield. The hard-hitting little corner. And boy, you could see it forever, Tony. He came off the corner, and you just said, here he comes, here he comes. And Delhomme held the ball and then took the hit.
Yeah, you got to think that the clock was going off in Jake's head, that I got to get rid of this ball, because really no pressure inside, and he just never sees Winfield going. He's about to deliver it, but he's got to pick up something in the pre-snap coverage or seeing the safeties rolled over that way to know that there's a threat of the corner to come. And then the awareness of Antoine Winfield to make the play, ball comes out, and then keep on playing, pick it up, and score a touchdown. And we talked about it being miserable if you throw an interception over the middle of the field. Well, that's worse. I mean, giving up 7 points that way when your defense has played so well all day, and the 14 touchdowns, most of the NFL, they do it both through the intercepted and fumble returns. This defense so often has had to pick up for the offense, and maybe that's the spark that Darren Sharper was talking about that this team needed.
So just like that, we go to a tie game after the Winfield hit, forced fumble, sack, touchdown. What more could he do? Stewart with a nice game. 57 seconds left.
And Darren Sharper sat down, and you can almost see the frustration in his eyes with us on Friday, saying we're too good, and I'm getting too old. I don't have that many more chances. This is a playoff, possibly a Super Bowl caliber team, and we need to start making plays, and we just need something good to happen. We've had nothing good really happen big play-wise in the first 2 weeks. And I think he was talking about his offense, hoping his offense would do something. But boy, the defense showed up here and getting the 10 points in under a minute, have changed the complete atmosphere in this building and have changed the momentum to their side.
Now they put it on the ground. That's Goings. And Gordon coming off the corner with a big hit.
And if I like this, if you're John Fox, I mean, you just got punched in the mouth, fumble. You know, you're controlling the whole game. It's 10-3, trying to get something else to build on going into halftime. Listen, just hand the ball off. Let's get out of here. Let's catch our composure. Let the building calm down and come out and play a 10-10 ball game in the second half.
That thinking would have been nicer the series before.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20.
Early movement. We talked about the noise.
Well, you talk about it would have been nice to know that earlier, Ron.
Still waiting on John Perry with the call.
And as we wait for him, if you're Carolina, you've been playing so well and protecting, and quarterback's not getting hit, you should have confidence to be able to come out and drive the ball in a 2-minute drive.
Ball start, number 69 offense. The offense has elected a 10-second runoff. Therefore, please reset the game clock to 14 seconds. Clock will start on the ready for play.
And that's a penalty on the offense, under a minute to play. And that was a 10-second runoff given to Carolina. And there's a pass and a completion to DJ Hackett. So our play clock should be down.
That's the third final timeout, Carolina.
The game clock should have been down to 14 seconds.
Please reset the game clock to 2 seconds. 0-2.
Now the game clock, as you heard from John Perry, down to 2 seconds.
Ron, you talked about the rule of the runoff on a penalty under a minute. It's going to stop the clock. You run 10 seconds off against the offense. But I'm surprised. Usually they'll take a timeout away.
I thought about that.
And they had the one timeout. And I got to think that they went and talked to John Fox and said, listen, we'll take the 10 seconds off and keep our timeout.
That's exactly what they said. But that is the rule. And so the Panthers hit with that 10-second runoff on the play, and they just took their final timeout.
And you might be asking, okay, why did they call timeout now? Well, what they did, they got to midfield, and now with Jake's surgically repaired elbow, they can take a shot at the end zone on a Hail Mary and maybe get lucky.
So they go the old Big Ben formation up top. You'll either see the Hail Mary to one of those three or the hook and ladders down below. And guess what? It's neither. It's a sack. That's Kevin Williams. And so that's how it will end. 10-10 tie. We've got a good one. We'll be back with second half action from here in Minneapolis after a short break from your local Fox station. And we are at the half here in Minnesota, a 10-10 game. We've got a good one. Ron Pitts, Tony Baselli, and Tony, of course, it didn't start that way. It started all Carolina and Steve Smith coming back, and he got involved right away.
Yeah, he got some big plays real quick. He showed the explosiveness, and look for him to exploit some matchups in the second half, him going deep.
Meanwhile, for Minnesota, they finally got that run game going. I think that led to their first points, the 3 points with Adrian Peterson. Now the big play there with Antoine Winfield. It looks as though they've got that energy back.
Yeah, they almost like tried to force the pass early. They need to run the ball with Adrian Peterson. He's the bread and butter, and mixing the pass after him.
Kickoff coming up. We're ready to get it going here. Reese Lloyd will kick it away. And a nice kick. He's brought in just to do that right there. avoid the return. Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, speaking to both coaches at halftime for Childress, he's happy with Gus Frerott's performance overall. I pointed out that, again, the defense had to make a big play. He said both sides of the ball are doing a good job. For John Fox, despite the way he went into the second half, he's very happy with his team's performance. And in coach speak, he just says they need to continue to execute and finish.
But I know he's not happy the way that last offensive series ended up.
Yeah, coach speak for that would be terrible.
Yeah. Peterson, along with Taylor, both in the backfield. Don't see a whole lot of that. That's a skipper. Nice one-hopper over to first base for the easy out. Intended for Berrien. A quick look at the first half numbers.
And it's all about turnovers in the first half. Carolina was controlling the game until the Antoine Winfield corner blitz knocked the ball out of Jake Delhomme. That's the two turnovers right there, and it led to the 7 points. That is why we have a tie ball game at this point.
And in case you're just joining us, Carolina started out with a lead. Minnesota came back, and they were trying to go in at half, but the Minnesota Vikings, Antoine Winfield, came off the corner with the corner blitz, knocked the ball loose, and we're tied up at 10. And for you fantasy fans, there's a quick fantasy update. Not a lot from Peterson so far, but of course Steve Smith hasn't been in the end zone, but I think that's more than admirable for a guy who's been out the last 2 weeks.
Not a lot of fantasy points in the first half, 10-10. A lot of big plays on defense, really good defense that we're seeing so far, but not too many points.
And this is a 3rd and 7. Pressure on Frerotte. Looking deep. His man's got a step. It's caught. Berrien. He makes up for the drop early on. Working on the safety back there, Charles Godfrey. 48 big ones.
That's why Gus Frerott's starting now, and that's why they signed Bernard Berrien to the big contract. He's going to run in here, fake the post, and then just break it off deep. And Gus Frerotte with the big arm leads him nicely. He gets the safety to turn his hips. They're in a cover 2. Charles Godfrey, the rookie, is a 2-deep safety. He bites for the post in the middle of the field. Berrien breaks it off, and it's a perfect throw.
48 yards, and that is the longest offensive play of the year thus far for the Vikings.
Start, number 78 offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Then they give a little bit of it back. That's the veteran. You're not going to see that very often. Matt Burke at center. And Tony, you talked about the big money Berrien coming in as a free agent from Chicago. That'll be about as fired up as you see Frerotte get.
Doesn't want to show he's been in too many big games. He doesn't want to show too much emotion too soon.
1st and 15 after the penalty. Looking for the quick one, batted away. Kimoyatu may have gotten a hand on that. Check, that's Darwin Walker.
We saw Bernard Berrien running right by the rookie Charles Godfrey on a couple plays ago, and that's why they brought him in. And this week, Brad Childress even said, listen, I got to call plays to highlight this guy. We brought him in to stretch the field, and we haven't used him this season properly.
Walker along with Gary Gibson, their backup unit down there at the defensive tackles. There's a completion inside to the tight end, Schenko, and he'll score. .34 yards for Frerotte to Vasanti Schenko.
And he didn't drop that one. He caught it and finished the play, something he didn't do last week against the Colts.
His first touchdown of the season. And the Vikings picking up right where they left off at the half. They march right down a big pass play to Bernard Berrien, now Schenko, and they go up here in the third quarter. So Shenko dropped the touchdown pass last week, holding on this week. And for Minnesota, that's 17 unanswered points.
Couple great throws by Gus Frerotte. The deep ball, which he's always been a strength of his, throwing that deep ball, but it threw a rope, frozen rope to Shenko right in the seam.
This will be Stewart. He's got to go now. He started to stop, but he was already out of the end zone. Maybe it was a good thing he did go. Look at Jonathan Stewart still rolling. Jonathan Stewart, one man to beat to score, and he can't beat him. Darren Sharper, the starting strong safety, hustling down and makes the tackle, saves the touchdown. And there are a couple people injured on the play. There's a Viking down back at the 33-yard line.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 47. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10, Carolina.
And it's all for naught. Penalty against Carolina, illegal block in the back. Wipes out an 87-yard return.
And Jonathan Stewart hesitates, and sometimes that actually sets up the blocks a little bit better, and you see that often.
And they call it on Jeff King.
Even though it was brought back, boy, what great vision, great patience by Jonathan Stewart.
And the Viking down is Vinny Churchu. We'll check on him when we come back. Our robot keeps on dancing, but not a lot of dancing on the Carolina Panthers sideline. A huge kickoff return at the right time, wiped out by the penalty. We keep it on the ground. That's Williams. Let's go back to that penalty on the kick.
And Jeff King right here is going to get called. You can see him blocking in the back on Benny Sapp. And you can see Benny Sapp letting everyone know that he was held. Flails his arm, plays the part pretty good to call attention to himself, and nullifies the big return by the rookie Jonathan Stewart.
2nd down and 8. Play action. Complete to King. King fights forward, and that's a 1st down for Carolina.
And Ron, that's a huge 1st down.
Yeah.
When you're backed up like that in your own territory as an offense, really your first goal is let's just get 1 1st down, because we can get out, we can improve our field position, and our punter, if we do have to punt, won't be backed up in our own end zone now. And so really, that's the first victory on this drive. Just get that 1 1st down so we can get some decent field position.
King has emerged as the team's tight end, go-to tight end, 2nd leading receiver last year with 46 catches. Play is stopped again.
And that's Jeff King right there, getting a little quick start, jumping the gun a bit.
Ball start, number 47 offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So just as I pumped him up.
And that's how it usually works. There's Jeff King right there going up against Ray Edwards. He's going to try to get the quick release, and either he's just faster than everyone else or he cheated.
And Tony, this team is still looking for that replacement for a guy they had a long time ago when the franchise first came on the scene, Wesley Balls. 1st and 15. They go back to King, but not much there. Boy, E.J. Henderson is a guy that brings so much energy to the field. Where the ball is, you will find number 56.
Well, he's made it on the run and pass today. He's been a ball hawk, getting after everybody. And watch Ray Edwards getting after Jake Delhomme here. He's going to get some late pressure. Had him in the old wrestling headlock. And Delhomme's looking for a little bit of help, maybe a yellow flag. But Ray Edwards was just going down, natural progression, didn't slam him. Clean play.
2nd and long, going deep, looking for Smith. Nothing there. No contact that they would call anyways. And that's pretty solid coverage there by Terrell Johnson.
And Cedric Griffin trailing him, but good job. Ooh.
If they wanted to, I take that back. That they could call cutoff. You are not allowed as a defensive back to cut the receiver off. And he wasn't looking back at the ball. He got away with one.
I was going to say, he did get away with one. At first glance, it looked like a really good play, but from that angle, wouldn't have blamed the official for throwing the flag at all.
So it's a 3rd and 12, and you can hear the noise. Look at him trying to communicate. Oh, nearly intercepted, dropped, but a marker is down. Chad Greenway had it in his hands.
False start. Number 88 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Tony, we've been talking about it all day. The noise in this place causes so many problems.
It's definite. You cannot hear. You have to focus, and if you are the tackle or the tight end, and even the guard, sometimes you have to turn your head in and literally watch the ball. You lose any advantage of a snap count on the defense because both of you are looking at the same thing to start the play.
Now you're a count late versus a guy like that, Jared Allen, getting off the line.
Makes the hard job even harder.
The safe bet, the draw, Williams, and Williams will be well short of the first down. E.J. Henderson. So 4 false starts today for Carolina. And the defense is off the field. On comes the punt team for Carolina.
And Carolina fans at home might be saying, frustrated with that call. But Jeff Davidson, that's a smart thing. You're backed up, it's loud. There's no reason to do something stupid and allow Minnesota's defense to make a big play again.
Baker to Allison, a marker down already, but he's got a ton of room. Nice open field tackle there. That's Nate Sally. Let's check the marker. John Perry's arm is about to fall off.
I was going to say, the game's getting a little sloppy.
From the start, we've had penalties, and it continues. John Perry and his crew talk it over. Here we go.
During the kick, personal foul, number 41, blocking a kicking team member out of bounds. 15-yard penalty, 1st and 10, Minnesota.
So Minnesota goes back. 17-10 Vikings here in the 3rd quarter. So Gus Frerotte now in control of this game. Started off behind. They started off throwing the ball. That didn't work too well. They got Adrian Peterson going. And if you look at Freratte's numbers, efficient, I would say. Nothing great, but he's not killing the team on the same vein. Peterson. Somebody loses a lid out there. That's Brayton. Not a lot for Peterson. And some key plays thus far in the game. Just before the half, the corner blitz. Never saw it coming. Antoine Winfield with the sack, the fumble recovery, and the touchdown. And then the deep ball here to Bernard Berrien. And that led directly to that play. The touchdown strike to Vasante Shenko. 9 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 8. Pressure, sack. Julian Peppers on the sack. You knew it was coming, just a matter of time.
Peppers, you talked about it, Ronnie, earlier. Moved from left end where he played all of his career to the right end, working against Artis Hicks, Bryant McKinney's replacement, who's been suspended for 4 games for the conduct policy. And Peppers is playing much better this year, a lot more energy, had a rough year last year, and one of the better pass rushers when he gets it going, just ran right around Artis Hicks.
Chester Taylor, the running back spot. 3rd and long. Farad in trouble again, another sack. Tyler Brayton finishes him off. Let's go to Los Angeles for this game break.
Boy, what a game for Ronnie Brown for the Dolphins. Ran for 3 touchdowns in the first half. Starts the second half with a touchdown pass. This one to Anthony Fasano. Put Miami up big. New England just scored, but it's still 28-13 Dolphins with the lead. Ron and Tony?
So they share the sack between Brayton and Johnson. And that brings on the punt unit from Minnesota. Mark Jones. Jones with an opening. Mark Jones with a nice return as he works across the 50-yard line. 54-yard punt, 20 yards on the return by Mark Jones. All right. A quick quarterback comparison. Jake Delhomme and Gus Farad.
You know, the one thing that doesn't account for is that the corner blitz that I think Jay, not 100% sure, but somebody missed it, caused the big turnover that led to the 7 points, the 7 of Minnesota, 17 points.
1st and 10, give to Williams. Not a lot. Chad Greenway with the tackle.
Great field position for the Carolina Panthers. Their defense did their job. Special teams with the nice return by Mark Jones. And now this is where, hey, you're down, you're on the road. Have struggled a little bit, sputtered offensively. You got to establish yourself here, establish your will, start getting after you again. Look for him to find Steve Smith. See if they can get the right matchup with Steve Smith.
Smith at the bottom of your screen. A pickup of 1 on the previous play. The give again to Williams. He got 3 that time. Kevin Williams on the tackle. Thought it was interesting what Jake Delhomme told us the other day. Said, I actually text Peyton Manning and I said, hey, first of all, you must be real sore after last week's game. And then second of all, what do I got to do to beat these guys?
Yeah, he watched the film and Peyton Manning was getting hit all day long by this Vikings front 4. And Jake Delhomme knew coming into today it was going to be a physical matchup and he was going to get banged around a little bit.
3rd and 6. There it is. Ball is loose. It looked as though someone from Carolina recovered it. Carolina holds on to the ball, but it doesn't matter. It's 4th down, and that pressure once again, that's the reason Peyton Manning was sore from last week.
And it was from out of the secondary. Is Tyrell Johnson coming on the blitz? They dropped E.J. Henderson. Tyrell Johnson, the rookie, is the one with Chad Greenway who forced the turnover. The Vikings very aggressively bringing people from every angle. First was the corner at the end of the first half, now the safety.
Baker with the kick, Allison with the fair catch at the 12-yard line. 17-10 Vikings. The Viking offense, you can see 183 yards per game, their average rushing this year. Today, far from that.
And they need to get back to that. And I thought they would have some success after watching Matt Forte, the rookie for the Chicago Bears last week, have some success in that game against Carolina Panthers. But the Panthers have done a great job of shutting down Peterson so far.
Taylor takes a hit inside. Beeson is there along with Godfrey. And that was really what was so disheartening about last week in the loss to Indianapolis. You rush for 179 yards and you can't win the game.
Well, hey, I mean, that's why they're throwing it today. I mean, it's through the air that they've had all their success. And Peterson came in, beat up a little bit with the hamstring. I mean, maybe that's why we're seeing a little bit more Chester Taylor. They've really never gotten Peterson into a rhythm so far. But Farrat's made up with his right arm.
2nd and 7 throw. The deep comeback. There it is. 1st down. Berrien starting to get going. You talked earlier, Tony, about the big money of Berrien. Brought in as a free agent, signed a 6-year, $16 million guaranteed contract.
And Artis Hicks makes that deep comeback work and allows that pass to happen to Bernard Berrien, doing a good job of locking down after getting beat the last series by Julius Pepper, stopping the inside move. And you said it, when a guy runs by a corner like that, they play a little softer.
Yeah, put that deep fear in your heart. First and 10 run. Taylor. Good carry on first down. Chris Harris on the tackle. He picked up 6.
You know,
back to Hicks.
Yeah, talking about Artis Hicks. In for the Bryant McKinney, the Pro Bowl left tackle who had some off-the-field issues in the offseason, was suspended by the commissioner for 4 games. And, boy, he has a tough start of the season. KGB, 74.5 sacks. And then Dwight Freeney, I think the best pass rusher in all of the NFL. And it's not a day off when you have to face Julius Peppers today. So quite a test the first 3 weeks.
Boy, and there was a collision in the backfield as Taylor gets the first down. He got 8. Anthony Herrera collided with somebody coming up there. Might have been Chris Harris.
And I think if you're Minnesota, you stick with the hot hand. Stick with Chester Taylor. You can see Hutch and Artis Hicks just beating on the defensive line. He got some collisions outside with Anthony Herrera just trying to knock out Chris Harris, the strong safety. I mean, that's physical football. And go with the hot hand of Chester Taylor. He's running strong right now.
Panthers sink down inside. They're thinking the run. They get Taylor again, and there you go. You know, you gear up all week for Peterson, but then they start pumping Taylor on you, and after a while, he probably starts to feel like Peterson.
Oh, he's a big-time back, Ron. I mean, this guy, he feels like he's a starter. They were asking about this week when he might have had a chance to play. He says, listen, nobody likes being a backup, but I understand my role. He says, I'll do whatever it takes. If I have to return kicks like he does, if AP's not ready, it's Adrian Peterson, I'll carry the load. But he feels like he should be a starter. He's good enough. He has the talent to do that.
2nd and 3 out to Allison. Look at the way the Panthers tried to rip that ball. Allison working on Chris Gamble. And that's enough for a first down. Pick up a 5. Tony?
And watching Gus Frerotte work the passing game, you see Chris Gamble slipping a little bit there. Andre Allison did a good job of running off, but going back to Gus Frerotte, watching this passing game and how well they're executing it, you got to wonder if they waited 2 weeks too long to get Gus Frerotte in there to be the starting quarterback.
Frerotte looking, no place to go. He might as well take off and run it now. And he runs out of bounds. A little bit of contact on the sidelines. And it didn't look like Beeson tried to maul him.
No, it looked much worse than it was. John Beeson's a smart player. And he was trying to help out, making sure he knows better that if he hits Gus Frerotte on the sidelines that he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, he tried to hold him up.
He's trying to hold him up, and Gus Frerotte just gets tangled up a little bit there. And right, no call by the officials. Way to watch the whole play and understand what exactly was going on. And now that's the one difference, or the one thing Gus Ferrotte's not going to give. He gets outside the pocket. He's not taking off like Tavares Jackson.
You better hurry up and snap the ball. Just get the play off. 2nd and 7. Nothing going on there. Nice play in the backfield. That's Charles Johnson, backup defensive end, 2nd-year man out of Georgia. Hey, if you think you're going to come in and run the ball down the middle of the field on this Panther team, you better think again. Nice force there by Harris as well.
Yeah, they brought the strong safety in, Chris Harris, down, like you said, Chris Harris. Chester Taylor wanted to bounce it outside and get outside to some daylight, but Chris Harris did a good job of just controlling the gap. That's what you want to do on defense. Just control your area and trust your teammates will do their job.
3rd and 3. Check that 3rd and 9. Throwback screen, it's open. Mills with a leaping effort and a first down. Brought down by Gamble, but he got 10 yards, and more importantly, the first down.
Great play call by Darrell Bevel. They're going to fake the little screen to the guy you think they're going to go to, Chester Taylor. I mean, with Chester Taylor and playmakers out there, I don't think you're keying Garrett Mills if you're the Carolina Panthers. Great job of faking the screen one way, and you saw the offensive line get out in front, and Garrett Mills just got enough to get the first down.
Now they'll go back to the pound game. That's Taylor. And that is the end of the first quarter. It's been all about Minnesota. They're up by 7. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
tomorrow in the fight to protect.
We start the fourth quarter here in Minneapolis. Ron Pitts, Tony Baselli. And Tony, you know, we talk about this game, 7-point game, but it feels like for Carolina, they can't afford to give up another touchdown.
No, they can't. Minnesota's controlling the ball right now at the offense. They're doing a good job of mixing, run, and pass. And you said it, Ron. I don't know if Carolina can afford to go down 2 touchdowns.
Just from a momentum standpoint, Peterson, nice job on the perimeter there. Niall Diggs is there along with a couple others. Here's a look at the third quarter numbers.
And you can see Minnesota really started taking control. The difference in total yards, 130 to 25, and then the 6 first downs, time of possession, everything leaning towards Minnesota. And when we talk about Carolina not being able to afford to give up a touchdown, that doesn't mean the game's over or anything.
Right.
But because you can score 2 times easy in the fourth quarter, but going against a tough defense like Minnesota, and when momentum's on the Viking side, you really need your defense to step up.
Speaking from a momentum standpoint, 3rd and 4. Empty backfield throw and a completion to Bobby Wade. Marshall on the coverage. When you talk about Gus Frerotte and a tale of 2 different halves, he's clearly different this half from the first half.
And Bobby Wade just going to work a little out route. And these were the throws that Tavares Jackson was not making. Routine throws to move the chain on 3rd down.
Frerotte in the first half, 87 yards passing and an interception. Here in this quarter, in the second half, 114 yards. And look at this, Peterson. He is going. Chris Harris finally brings him down and brings him out of bounds. 14.
You want to know why Hutchinson and Burke are 2 All-Pros? Watch them combo block on the down guy and then get up to Beeson and cut him down and create a huge seam front side for Adrian Peterson. That's textbook.
Taylor looking for cutback. Taylor, he's down to the 5.
And Ron, right that time they went right behind Hutchinson again, the All-Pro left guard for the Vikings. I mean, he is a road grader when it comes to run blocking. He doubled with Artis Hicks. They came right off his backside. Steve Hutchinson really starting to enforce his will and dominating on the run. And shows the athletic ability to get up to the next level, linebacker level, and cutting down John Beeson.
Second and 3. Vikings can get a first down before they score. That's Taylor about a yard shy of the first down.
Now, if you are Carolina Panthers and you want to figure out where the ball's going, just key on Hutchinson. Because the last 3 plays, whether they go front side and they keep it front side behind Hutch, or they call it the other way and the back's going to cut backside to Steve Hutchinson. That's why they signed him here. They felt like he was one of the best run blockers in the NFL, playing that left guard position, and he's really starting to take over right now.
Peterson and Tahi check in. 16th play of the drive. Start out their own 11-yard line. Peterson dancing, still going. He's got the first, but they're not going to give him the touchdown. A late flag. Godfrey was there to help him, or to keep him from getting the touchdown.
Holding, number 69 offense, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, we don't have a 69.
Correction, 64.
All right. Thank you, John. That's Anthony Herrera, the right guard.
Anthony Herrera is going to be right here, right guard. Working against Taylor Brayton. And right there gets his hands outside and just decides not to let go. And he did, I mean, good job of getting on him. But listen, if I know I got Adrian Peterson back there, just get on long enough and let the guy go. Because if you watch the rest of that play, Adrian Peterson refused to go down and was punishing Carolina Panther tacklers.
Peterson and Taylor in the backfield together. There's a screen to Taylor. One block, Taylor, touchdown. But a marker is down. Hold everything. A marker is down at the 12-yard line.
Number 78 offense, 10-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
And they call that on the center, Matt Burke, holding.
They set up the screen perfectly. Matt Burke's going to get out in front of him and Steve Hutchinson. And right there, I believe he's trying to block John Beeson. And he just goes down and he flat tackles him. I mean, the crowd's booing and they're not happy about it, but that is a hold. I mean, any way you cut it.
Woo, but that's a block right there.
And that's called a decleater by Adrian Peterson.
Look at the penalties. Third and 21 after the 2 penalties. The dump down. Peterson, another flag is down as Peterson fighting to the 4-yard line, maybe just inside the 5.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. Number 58 defense. 5-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
I believe he said 58 defense. That would be Thomas Davis.
And Ron, that is a killer for no other reason. Forget the yardage, only a 5-yard penalty, but it's an automatic first down. The Panthers had him backed up 3rd and forever. You cannot make a mistake like that.
I mean, now you're talking about the difference between a field goal and now continuing for a touchdown attempt.
And you can see the hit was definitely after 5 yards by Thomas Davis on to Vashante Shenko.
So they'll reset it at 1st and 10. Taylor, no place to go. Nice play in the backfield. Maake Kimoyatu, brought in as a free agent from Baltimore back in '06.
You talked about earlier why it's so difficult to run inside on this Carolina Panther defense. Kimoyatu is a big reason for that. 6'5", they have him listed about 350. He makes it difficult for anybody. Or much like Pat Williams for the Vikings, such big bodies and are still athletic enough to shed the block and make tackles.
A 1-yard pickup. Peterson and Taylor in the backfield. 17th play of the drive. The flare, nice move by Taylor. Almost get another one. Ball is loose. I believe he recovered his own fumble. Well, it's amazing he didn't break an ankle doing that one. Look at this.
It makes the first guy miss. And you're right about that.
Oh,
the ball
boy.
clearly out. Oh, he got lucky. I can't tell what. I believe it's that Ken Lucas who actually kicks the ball, or Richard Marshall, excuse me, kicks the ball right back to him.
Marshall kicked the ball with 4 Panthers around and others coming back into the hands of Taylor. Bootleg, pressure on the backside from Lewis. There's the throw, and it's incomplete. Intended for Wade, and Damian Lewis had bad intentions.
What a big 3 downs right there for the Carolina Panthers. You give the Vikings life again, and more times than not, when you give a team as good as the Vikings a second chance, they're going to make you pay. But they hung in there defensively and are going to force the field goal. It'll only be a 10-point game with plenty of time left, if they convert, I should say, with plenty of time left in the clock.
18-play drive, and you know the Panther defense, they are sucking air. 32 yards out, blocked, but play is stopped before the Chris Harris block.
Prior to the snap, Carolina took their first team timeout. Timeout on the field.
Now that's one, Ron, where John Fox will be kicking himself saying, why did we call timeout? I don't know if they saw something or if they're trying to ice the kicker or what, but they just missed out on a big block.
So they'll reset it. Another try for Minnesota. 32 yards again after the timeout. No block this time, and the timeout cost the Panthers 3 points.
The world.
The call of the timeout by the Panthers might be pivotal in this game because it could have cost them 3 points. They have the block. You can see the official running in right here. And then the coach, those are 2 bad circles, but the coach's feet is John Fox running up the sideline because he's the only one who can call timeout, coach on the sidelines. And so he's the one who stopped the play.
And you got to believe you're not going to ice anyone on a 32-yarder, but
he must have seen something he didn't like.
Yeah. Stewart with a nice return. And he's out to the 35-yard line, 32 yards. And look at that. Carolina, needless to say, is a little cold right now on offense.
Well, and their defense is probably dying over there looking for oxygen. And this is where this offense needs to keep the defense off the field. They the Vikings just got done with a 19-play drive. And you know Julius Peppers and Beast and the rest of the guys are saying, okay, we need a break.
19 plays, but it chewed up 11 minutes of 34 seconds. Basically, it took the entire quarter from you. There's a completion across the middle, Muhsin Muhammad, and that's a Panther first down. Let's go to Los Angeles. Game break time. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Oh, look at the former Viking ball boy done good. Larry Fitzgerald of Arizona taking this one and making it look easy from Kurt Warner. 62 yards on the score. But the Redskins have come back. They lead at 24-17 in the 4th quarter. Keep in mind, Washington getting ready to face Dallas next Sunday in doubleheader action here on Fox. Ron and Tony.
Apparently, age has no factor or bearing anymore. Tony, if you can throw the ball, we'll start your quarterback in the NFL. Rosario across the 50-yard line. Greenway with the initial tackle.
Now, that was a little bit of a different play there. You had Dante Rosario and Steve Smith lined up on the same side. Usually, that'd be Steve Smith stepping back to get the quick pass and Rosario blocking. But they forced Steve Smith, said, okay, let's see if we can trick him a little bit. Steve Smith went and laid a decent block and get Rosario the ball.
And don't by any stretch of the imagination think this one is over.
No, plenty of time left.
Jake Delhomme with 15 career game-winning drives, and the last 2 wins, they came from behind. Stewart trying to get around the corner. Griffin is there first.
Jared Allen working right here, and they're going to run a little crack play, going to block down on him, pull Jordan Gross, try to get the corner, and that's a wide receiver. Muhsin Muhammad doing a good job, one of the more physical receivers in this league, not afraid to mix it up, getting in there, blocking one of the better defensive ends than Jared Allen. But Jared Allen's been quiet. Give a lot of credit to Jordan Gross so far, shutting down Jared Allen.
Well, that's what Muhsin Muhammad is known for. 13 years in the league. 3rd and 5. Play is stopped. Markers are down.
I think the crowd noise can be a factor again, Ron.
Going against Carolina.
False start. Number 69 offense, 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And Jordan Gross, their franchise player this year, has been doing pretty well in spite of the penalties.
Yeah, we talked about Jordan Gross earlier, game within the game, and he's doing a great job take away that penalty where he jumped off sides of really nullifying Jared Allen in both the run and the pass. Jared Allen thought he could get physical with Jordan Gross. Jordan Gross isn't the biggest guy when it comes to left tackles, only 300 pounds. Jared Allen wanted to try to be physical with him, but right now Jordan Gross is getting the better of that matchup.
3rd and 10, pressure. Delhomme gets out of it, throws it away, but I don't see anybody in the area. Far from complete. Pressure by Allen, and that'll bring on the punt team for Carolina.
Jared Allen right here, he's in a loop all the way inside on a stunt. They bring the blitz, Charles Gordon off the corner, and then Ryan Khalil, the center, does just a bad job of missing. Jared Allen looping all the way around and forcing Delhomme outside the pocket.
So Jason Baker will punt it away to Andre Allison. The protection holds up, high kick, fair catch called, and he dropped it. But he got it back. Keep your eye on the ball.
That's a couple almost turnovers. One where they kicked the ball back into the Vikings runner, and now the ball bounces right back to the Vikings. Good bounces for the Vikings.
Go!
Saturday baseball, you will see one of these games, all with playoff implications. The Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week returns this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, only in high definition and only on Fox.
Ronnie, the Mets going to be able to hang on after they had the disastrous collapse last year?
I'm talking about those Rays, man. Surprise team of the year, maybe. Huh?
Without a doubt.
They wrap up a playoff berth. 1st and 10 run. That's Peterson. Maybe for a couple. And a quick look at our game summary. Adrian Peterson. Not a whole lot today.
That's the second charge.
He's been bothered by that hamstring. And it looked as though early, Tony, with the way they were passing the ball, that they were testing that hamstring out.
Well, it also showed how much confidence they had in Gus Frerotte. I mean, if we'd have talked before the game and said, okay, Adrian Peterson's only going to have 13 carries for 58 yards, what kind of game do we expect? Well, you'd think the advantage would be Carolina, but Gus Frerotte, Bernard Berry, Vishanti Shenko really have picked up the slack, and this passing game actually has some life. And the Carolina Panthers just called timeout as well, Ron. Already trying to conserve the clock. Down 2 scores, 10 points, 6:16 left. They need to get, they have 1 timeout left. They need to get the Vikings off here on this series. Only allow 3 downs.
Yeah, well, after that long drive, that 11-minute drive, 19-play drive, they know that they will end the game on them right here. They got to get them off the field. Peterson just pounds his way through, and that's a 1st down. Well, and the clock will run.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Ron, but this is where you start seeing the fatigue of this Carolina Panther defense. They just got off the field, 19-play drive. The offense didn't help them out to give them a break. And now you got this guy, who Matt Burke says runs like a man who's possessed, coming downhill at you and just is a battering ram. And when you get this tired and you're on the field all day in this second half, you start sucking wind, and it gets difficult to bring down a back like Adrian Peterson.
And to think that last year, as a rookie, he started the season in training camp carrying Chester Taylor's shoulder pads to and from practice. I don't think he's doing that anymore. There's Taylor. A little bit of after the whistle there. Damian Lewis on the tackle.
Well, this clock becomes an issue now. We're getting down to the 5-minute mark. If you're the Carolina Panthers, it's starting to be critical of getting them off the field and giving your offense another chance. Listen, if they can get them off in this series, you know, we're 2nd and long, 2nd and about 11. This is a critical down because you want to get them to 3rd and long, so force them to either throw the ball, which will stop the clock if it's incomplete, or just kind of give it up on a draw.
And it hurt last drive to come away with nothing, not even 3 points, to make it easier on this drive. 2nd and 11. Peterson, and he works down close to about the 35-yard line. Now you see the tempers flaring. That's 2 in a row now. Robert Ferguson getting into it. Looks like Chris Gamble is involved as well.
And then Carolina's going to burn their last timeout as well.
Final timeout, Carolina.
No timeouts for Carolina. 10-point game. Adrian Peterson with only 75 yards rushing, but at a healthy 4.7 per crack. And Taylor with only 44, but 4 yards a crack. You'll take that all day long if you're an OC. Offensive coordinator, 3rd and 6. Big conversion coming up. The dump off, and they can't make it work. Carolina will get the football.
And Ron, that kills you. That's a bad mistake if you're Gus Frerotte and the Vikings, because what that does is it stops the clock. The Carolina Panthers had no more timeouts. If you're Gus Frerotte, the play call is to make sure you get the completion. He was going to the swing to Chester Taylor out of the backfield no matter what, and he's got to put that ball on him. Even if you get stopped for no gain, if it's a catch, the clock keeps on running.
So Cooley will kick it away. They don't rush it, they set up the return. Mark Jones at the 10, great kick. No blocks whatsoever. And the Panthers have had some fantastic finishes the first 2 games. Week 1, Jake Delhomme throws a 14-yard touchdown pass to Dante Rosario with time running out to ice the win in San Diego. And last week, Jonathan Stewart's second run of the day. That's a key stop, and a key stop on 4th down by the Panthers defense gives them the win over the Chicago Bears.
Ron, I've watched that San Diego tape a couple times. I still don't know how that safety didn't make a play for the San Diego Chargers. It was a great play by the Panthers and Dante Rosario. They're going to need more of those right now.
They just threw it all over San Diego. Now they're going to try it here. They open up with an out? No. Not inbound. DJ Hackett didn't get the feet in. Griffin on the coverage.
And this is where you're going to have to go hurry up offense. There's 4 minutes and 22 seconds left, but I don't think you have the luxury of just sitting back. If it's a completed pass inbounds, the clock's not going to stop. You got to hurry up and get on the field because you need 2 positions on the ball because you need 2 possessions.
Carolina down by 10, no timeouts. Inside, Muhammad, he'll be about 3 yards shy of the first. They're going to have to go to hurry up.
Yeah, Jake Delhomme's telling him, get on the line of scrimmage. Now he's going to start barking out signals, protection, and then he'll let with hand signals, let the receivers know which route he wants.
There's the first down. That's Steve Smith. Smith still going there as he gets it out to about the 35-yard line. Henderson on the tackle.
And you get a hurry up, you get something going, it'll slow down that rush a little bit too. Those defensive linemen are getting tired.
Oh, movement early.
But not if you do that. That's Jeff Otah.
False start, number 79. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the rookie. Now you stop the clock, let him substitute some defensive linemen. As an offensive lineman, you're in 2 minutes. You want to keep it going because those defensive linemen start getting tired of having to rush the passer, and it makes your job a little bit easier. Critical penalty by the rookie Otah. Tough situation for a young tackle in this situation. Loud, end of the game. You got to keep your wits about yourself.
And that catch a play ago by Steve Smith, that was his first one of the second half. They might look to get him involved. Tipped up, incomplete.
Those defensive linemen are taught if you're not going to get there, get your hands up, and Ray Edwards does it perfectly. Running into the wall, the big man, Jeff Otah, not going to get there on that play, but still very disruptive, gets his hand up and knocks it down. Now you can hear the crowd chanting defense. It's going to be loud in this place.
Second and long. A heater inside, and there's Steve Smith. Smith almost broke it. Great throw by Delhomme. And a marker is down back upfield.
Number 69 offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
And we have not called Jared Allen's name very much today, and Jordan Gross doing a good job, but boy, on this one, critical mistake by Jordan Gross. Jared Allen's going to work the inside move, and right there you can see the hand outside. And just takes him down. I think Jordan Gross actually would have gotten away with even that hand being outside if he'd have just kept on moving his feet, not trying to bury him. And Jake Delhomme knows right away, it doesn't matter what Steve Smith is doing down the field, it's going to be for naught.
Delhomme and Allen talking that one over. Just a drive killer. They reset it, second and forever. Pressure, Delhomme goes down. Allen is there, along with Wims.
Boy, after being quiet for a long time, somebody knew the lights are on and the stage was set to do something, and 2 plays in a row, Jared Allen with some good rushes. One time tries to come underneath with a power move, and that time you can tell he's in Jordan Gross's head a little bit. Just runs him right around him. And now you got third and forever.
That was a look at Carl Dunbar, the Vikings defensive line coach. Allen brought in a trade with the Chiefs just before the draft. And it's working out. Could be a delayed game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Implosion now for the undefeated Carolina Panthers.
We saw the clock going to 0, and Jake did as well, but nothing he could do. No timeouts left.
On the day, 6 false starts, 1 delay a game for the Carolina Panther offense. 3rd and 39. Check down to Williams. This will be a formality. So Williams gets it up to about the 22-yard line, and you're looking at 4th down.
You got to go for it.
They're going to go for it.
I mean, why not? I mean, there's only 2 minutes, 38 seconds left. I mean, it's still, not great odds. 4th and 27, it looks like, and not a lot of plays for that down and distance, but game's on the line. Do or die right here.
4th down. Pressure. Not a chance. Kevin Williams. And it'll be a turnover on downs.
Kevin Williams working against Jeff Hangardner. Just works the ball, but the problem is D'Angelo Williams actually picks Hangardner. I mean, Jeff Hangardner has no chance. It's hard enough to block Kevin Williams when everything's going okay out for you, but if your tailback's going to get in your way and block you, you don't have a chance. And boy, Ron, this defense, boy, did they show up when they needed them most.
Sure did.
First half, nothing going your way if you're the Vikings offense. Antoine Winfield with the big corner blitz to get the 7 points going into halftime to tie it up. And the second half, this Vikings defense has been dominant.
So they'll keep it on the ground here. That's Peterson. And this Vikings defense did a good job against the rush last week against Indianapolis. I mean, not saying a heck of a whole lot because Indy doesn't always run the ball as effectively as I'm sure they would like, but still.
Joseph Adai, he's a good player.
He's a good solid back, right. So they knew coming into this game it was going to be tough, but I think, Tony, we talked about it earlier, the noise in this stadium, if you get behind, and that has always been my feeling as a player here doing games as an announcer, you get behind here, you've got a long road to go.
Jared Allen might have been quiet for the first 3 quarters, but he got the motor going and was dominant in the 4th when it mattered the most. Give Jordan Gross credit for doing a good job early, but Jared Allen told us that he'll set up rushes for the whole day and then take advantage of situations when they present themselves. And Jared Allen, one of the smarter defensive ends in this league, he gets everything out of his ability. He studies hard, he studies opponents, and he had a game plan when he came in to face Jordan Gross. And it didn't look like it was working early, but boy, he executed to a T in the 4th quarter when the Vikings needed it. Quite a pass rusher, but Jordan Gross, take a good matchup today. Great matchup by 2 good players. 5
sacks by Minnesota's defense today. And a lot of people talking about Jared Allen, not even sure how he got out of Kansas City. Signed a huge contract, just under $74 million, making him at the time when he signed it the highest paid defensive player in the league. He was designated the franchise player by Kansas City, which meant he would have gotten $8.8 million for 1 year as part of the franchise tender, but they wanted a long-term deal. And his agent wanted a long-term deal. They couldn't get it worked out. So Allen said, hey, put me on the block, trade me. And guess what? It happened.
Well, listen, I'm not in the front office, never have been. I don't understand, though, how you let a guy like Jared Allen get away. He's too good. I mean, when you groom and build players up to be the type of guys that Jared Allen is, and he had some off-the-field issues, but he cleaned up his act, and he's always been dominant on the field. He plays the game the right way. You don't let a guy like Jared Allen get out of your backyard.
And they will just let it count down. A big win here at home for the Vikings. Their first win of the season. Came into this game 0-2. They said, we'll go ahead and make the quarterback change. Brad Childress did that on Wednesday.
I mean, the only negative thing about the quarterback change after watching Gus Frerotte, Ron, you got to think, did they wait too long? I mean, it's still plenty of time. You're 1-2. I mean, you can do a lot of things, but the way Gus Frerotte threw the ball today is receivers, they were in timing, and with the running game that you've already established, it makes it a dangerous offense.
So Carolina will get the ball back here. With time winding down. And we do one last game summary. The points off the turnovers. Hey, 7 is 7.
And boy, look at the game E.J. Henderson had. We highlighted him early. Some great running through guys, jumping over people, playing the counter, played perfect, the run plays. E.J. Henderson having a dynamic day from the middle linebacker position for the Vikings.
Time permitting, we will be sending you to the Tampa Bay-Chicago game at the end of this one. And there's a hit sharper on DJ Hackett.
Nothing like getting hit like that when the game's out of reach and you're just catching ball, trying to run, maybe get out of bounds. And Darren Sharper says, not so fast, my friend.
The Minnesota Vikings will be away the next 2 weeks at Tennessee, at New Orleans, before coming home here for the Lions. This is Ron Pitts for Tony Baselli and Carissa Thompson. So long from Minneapolis. The Vikings by 10. We will send you to bonus coverage, the Chicago Bear game.